guys, it's Barry from Copper vs Glass, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the final Windows 8 build for your computer. So what we're going to do, we're going to just log in here and we're going to see what Windows 8 has to offer. Now I've been using the Windows 8 previous betas before this, and this one's okay, it's not too much different, but we'll have a look and see what might be new. Now what I'm going to be mostly going into on this video is what I think Microsoft has done wrong here and why I think it's going to be a pretty big detriment to some of the core Windows users with this release, and I don't think that a lot of people are going to actually find this very helpful for what they've done, because I think they've kind of cannibalized some of their market, I think, because of themselves trying to make it a very tablet orientated operating system. So what we can do here is we've got the login screen. Okay, it just shows us the date and the time and Wi-Fi and battery indicator, which is a nice little touch and something that the Mac has been doing quite recently with Lion. So we're just going to click on here, and then it's going to just ask us to log in with our password that we created here. And here we are. So we're on the Windows start screen. Okay. Now this is great. I think the interface is really good looking. I think that the live tiles are really nice. They give you a nice visual look at everything that's on your computer, well, with regards to media and things like that anyway. And there's some other tiles that are on here because of the Boot Camp installer that I've got on my Mac. There's a couple of bits of software that need to be installed to make it run properly. But what I'm going to get into now is basically what I think they've done wrong here. So as we can see, this interface is really nice, and you can imagine kind of touching it with your hands and playing around with all these icons and touching them. It's very tactile, and you can swipe from left to right and so on and so forth. But to do this with a keyboard and a mouse is really complicated, and it's in no way obvious to the normal user. And just to give you a bit of backstory, I'm 26, I've been using Mac for about 5 or 6 years, and before that I was completely PC orientated, so this isn't someone who's never used a PC. I'm quite PC literate, so if I find this difficult to do these things, I think other people are going to find it quite difficult to do as well, and I don't think it's me just being stupid. So as we can look on here, we can see we've got some mail, calendar, people, photos, and a lot of the normal things you would find on a more simplified desktop or a tablet experience, like the iPad for example. But let me say I just want to go back to my desktop and I want to browse my files and I want to use it in a more traditional manner. Now Microsoft are almost forcing you to use it in this way. It's very limited what you can do in the traditional desktop environment, and I'll show you why. So let's go to desktop down here. And okay, we're back on the normal desktop, so great, this is familiar territory, we know what we're doing and we're not so scared anymore. But what's this? Down in the bottom left hand corner, there's no normal start button, so how do I get to the rest of all my applications, and how do I just use my computer in a traditional way? Microsoft are no longer allowing me to use my computer in the way in which I want to, whereas Mac, and I might get a lot of flack for this, Mac are just keeping their desktop and their portable operating system separate. iOS is completely separate to the operating system on your computer, whereas Microsoft is trying to smash them together to kind of build one Frankenstein operating system that works on both, and I think that's a massive mistake. Desktop environment should be kept as desktop, and portable environment should be kept as portable. The Windows Phone works really well because you've got all the little tiles on the screen. It's really nice for touchscreen, and the tablet will be nice too, so you can swipe and touch on the tiles and it'll be great. But a desktop, you have more finite control, and you're going to be using a mouse and a keyboard, and you're not going to be using a touchscreen, at least anyway. So how do I get to my start menu? Now it's really convoluted. I didn't find it until I started looking around, and from what I've heard, of course. But you move your mouse into the bottom left and you hold it down there, and there's the start menu. But it doesn't act in the way you think it would. You click on start, and okay, I'm back in this environment. So what do I do now? Okay, so let's do a test. Let's go back to the desktop. Let's say, for example, I wanted to use the calculator. Now, usually you would go down to the bottom left hand corner, click on the start menu, go to programs, accessories, and then you're back into the calculator. But no, on this I had to do this. Back down here, go to the Metro interface. Then what I do is I have to do a search for the calculator application, and to do that I have to move my mouse into the bottom right until I bring up the Charm menu, which will give you a list of options such as settings, devices, start, which will just take you back to the Metro interface, share, and search. So here we go, let's click on search, And now I can see all of the rest of the applications that are on my computer at any one time, and I can have a look and I can see, okay, these are the ones that are on the tiles, these are some of the other ones I've got, oh, and there's the calculator. So let's click on it, and it takes me back to the traditional Windows environment. Now, I don't quite understand why they get you to go in and out of Metro, Desktop, Metro, Desktop. And this is even more convoluted by looking at this. I've got a traditional file browser like I would have on any other Windows computer, so it's really, really nice and simple. It's how people want to view their desktop environment. But if I go to Internet Explorer, okay, I've got Internet Explorer like I would expect to find it, and it's great, it's a desktop Internet Explorer. But that's not the end of it. There is also another version of Internet Explorer. If I go back to Metro and go into Internet Explorer, there's a different version of Internet Explorer in Metro, which, you know, as you can see, I was doing a search for how to add Gmail to Metro, which I'll show you in a second, but it's a different version, so I can technically have two versions of Internet Explorer on my computer. Why would I need that? To browse in different environments is just completely unnecessary, and again, trying to mash these two environments together, the Metro and the normal desktop, is a massive difficulty for users, I think. So now once I'm in this, how do I get out of this full screen mode? If I go up to the top, I can pull this down and do something with it. I can move it into like a different environment, I guess. If I go down to the bottom right, the charm menu comes up again, and I can get the settings for Internet Explorer. If I go across here to the bottom left, I go back to Start, okay, and I'm back here. Let's go back to the desktop. Now let's close this Internet Explorer, and I'm back here again. Now the last thing I'm going to pick up on is things like accounts, now online accounts. So let's say, for example, I'm a Gmail user, and I'm not quite sure what happened there. I'm a Gmail user, so I want to go into Mail and I want to add my Gmail account to my computer. That's not a very unrealistic request, is it? So I'll type in my email address and my password. And we're going to log in, and it says the email address or password is incorrect. I know it's not because I do it all the time. Please try again. Why would it be telling me this? Now if I look up the top here, it says enter the Microsoft account you want to use with Mail, Calendar, People and Messages. So essentially this means, and I may be wrong, feel free to message me if I'm not, but this means that to add a Gmail account, I first have to add a Microsoft account to my computer, Live or Hotmail, and I have to add that first before I can then go ahead and add another account such as Gmail or Yahoo or any other internet provider. And it's the same not just in Mail but in Calendars, People and Messages as well. So this is massively inconvenient. If I don't have a Microsoft account but I buy a computer and it's running Windows, I shouldn't be expected to have a Microsoft account and to use that account, because personally I may not want to. So Microsoft again is forcing me to do something that I don't want to do. And I have done a search online, as you saw there in Internet Explorer, on how to do it, and the only resolution is to add a Microsoft account first, then you add your Gmail account afterwards. So I think my final words on Windows 8 are, visually, aesthetically, it looks great. I love the tile interface. I even love what they've done with the traditional desktop view. They've made it a little bit more flat with the file browser. The graphics on the top here is a bit more flat and squared off. There's no more of that kind of 3D arrow effect, which I think was quite childish. So aesthetically, I think it looks very, very nice. Downside though, I think is a big downside. They have completely cannibalized their traditional PC market in favour of a more tablet touch orientated interface that I think should be very solely purposed for tablets and smartphones. But they've tried to mash it onto the desktop, and they're trying to force you to use this environment where I'm a traditional PC user, I want to use the desktop environment as I always have. Why do I need to change? And I think a lot of users are going to find it very difficult to do that. But hey, when Windows 8 comes out, we'll see what happens, and we'll see what the other reviews are like. But yeah, so this is Barry from Copper vs Glass, having a look at the last and final preview of Windows 8 before it's released sometime this year, and I'll see you guys later.